you're about to see the results of putting out a song every week. So June 2015, we're halfway through the year. I'm making $600 in June 2015. July 2015, are y'all ready? Because we're about to go fast. June 2015, $626 got made. July 2015, $1,100. August 2015, $1,500. September 2015, $3,000. October 2015, $4,200. November 2015, $4,600. December 2015, $8,200. January 2016, a year after I started doing the SoundCloud, $16K. February 2016, $18K. March 2016, $20K. April 2016, $45K. May 2016, $73K. June 2016, $100K off of Tunecore in the month. So, to recap, June 2015, I made $626. June 2016, I made $102,000.
What's going on, guys? So the video you just saw from Russ is probably one of the most out of context taken pieces of content I have seen in the music business industry in a while. From a perspective that if you are an artist that does not understand how the music industry works, how the music business works, and you try to deploy that strategy of putting out one song per week for a year, which he really did it for more than that, but if you did that, you're gonna find yourself after a year of doing that probably nowhere from a brand growth standpoint, and probably a couple $10,000 in the hole if you have to spend money on that production, on that many songs to be actually well done and released. So let me tell you why. Actually, before I do that, let me tell you another thing that irks me about the music industry, or some of these pages that are out there on the internet, specifically somebody like United Masters, is that they put out pieces of content like this. They say, oh look, this is what happens when you're consistent. You just put out a song once a week, and then all of a sudden your Tunecore account starts doubling every single month. Or they give you other pieces of content from Gucci Mane, or from J. Cole, or from one of these major artists that are out there talking about the music industry and the business. But that, if you think you watching that as an artist and try to copy that blueprint is going to get you to a level of success fast, you're mistaken, because that's the equivalent of you putting out or launching a food truck, right? And watching what McDonald's does in terms of advertising and how they handle their business. You're not on that level. You can't even deploy 90% of the marketing strategies that they're deploying, right? So let me explain though what's wrong with this Russ strategy. And look, I give Russ credit because he's probably one of the only few artists that actually talks about the truth of what goes on behind the scenes in the music industry and how he actually got on. But this video that you just saw, taken out of context, is dangerous and detrimental for your career because, look, let me just go through this. Let's just go to his Wikipedia page, right? But he talks about getting started in June 2015, and by July of 2016, his Tunecore account grew to $100,000. What you didn't know is that Russ has been out there since 2011. He actually appeared on MTV with his boy, I guess Bogus, I don't even know his name, which was an artist that had a success with a song called El Jefe, gained traction. So they got on MTV with that. Then they co-founded a collective called Diamond, which is one of his YouTube channels as well. In 2012, he was getting press from Genesis Magazine and others. In 2014, he put out a song with Kid Super called Willy Wonka. There was other songs like Too Many, Goodbye, that were blowing up in the early 2015 that were basically carrying his Tunecore account. If you continue to look at Wikipedia, just what it says is that basically from December 2011 to August 2014, Russ released 11 albums and 87 singles consecutively or consistently, pretty much meaning the same thing in this case, all free of charge. Despite this, his music had not gained the attention that he wanted to. So he began to release one song per week on SoundCloud for almost 3 years, not a year, for 3 years. And two of those songs, What They Want and Losing Control, eventually ended up peaking at 83 and 62 on the US Billboard charts, right? But that was in 2016, 2017, and 2018 when they peaked on the charts, after he had a lot of press. So the strategy that Russ doesn't break down in that particular video, but he does in many other of his interviews, is that he was relentless at emailing bloggers and different publications and PR. Plus they already had these connections, right? So that's another thing that he doesn't talk about. He doesn't talk about the fact or he does, but you didn't consider that he's from New Jersey and he visited New York City frequently. That's how he met Kid Super, who was getting his own thing going as a designer in Brooklyn, also getting a lot of attention. He also resided in Atlanta this whole time this whole thing was happening. So he's literally bouncing back and forth between the two largest music markets on this planet, especially when it comes to hip hop and R&B. So his ability to rub shoulders with the right people, with the right influencers, with the publishing houses, with the record labels, with, you know, people from Sirius Radio and these major radio stations, it's a lot greater than if you're somebody like in the Midwest, for example, trying to get off the ground. So that's another thing you didn't consider. Another thing is that, yes, he put out a song on SoundCloud once a week, but he's talking about his Tunecore account climbing in this video. So to be making $600 a month from Tunecore in 2015, right? Let's see. 100,000 streams on Spotify is about $350 in revenue. So to be doing $600 in revenue, let's combine it with Apple Music, which was not as big in terms of market share as Spotify was back in 2015. So let's say on average he was getting 150,000 streams per month to be able to make $600 per month. And it wasn't just on SoundCloud, it was on every major platform. So to have that many fans and to actually be able to grow that account, he already had a lot of marketing and PR and just a lot of grind, and like as I read on Wikipedia, probably like 300 songs behind him for his catalog that were getting him to that point. He also produced all of his songs. He mixed and mastered all of his songs. He rapped on all of his songs. So he was probably able to save mass amounts of money on that production. Another thing you're not considering, that if he made $600 on Tunecore for that month and he was the producer on all of it and it was all original beats, he didn't have to pay out any royalties. If you do that as an artist, especially if you're getting beats off of BeatStars and all of that, which is holding you to a 50% publishing and royalty on that, half of that money would have to go to the producer, you know what I'm saying? So, and then as he literally doubled from month to month almost, if not triple later the other months, it was carried by like one or two songs. Yes, was it beneficial that he had a whole catalog of songs? Absolutely, because that's product repetition in front of the consumer, right? Once the consumer found one song, they're like, oh shit, this artist has a lot of great songs. Let me, go check that one out, check that one out. So the brand and the product repetition in the consumer's eyes made the brand stronger. He was able to gain it, you know what I'm saying? And it kind of irks me because 90% of what really happened to get him to that monthly growth, he didn't discuss in that particular video when he went live on IG. But for a lot of you artists will take that and think, oh man, my music is awesome, it's great. Let me just put out a song per week on all these different platforms and I'm gonna be big after a year or 2 years. Another thing I wanna let you know is that what you didn't consider is that in 2015, 50,000 songs were not submitted into these platforms on a daily basis, which are now. And also in 2015, hip hop was just starting to become the largest genre in the US market in terms of revenue generation, which I think in 2017 for the first time, hip hop became the biggest genre in the US market, essentially the modern pop. You know what I'm saying? So today, the 50,000 songs that get submitted every single day to Spotify, Apple Music, all these different platforms, let's assume that 60, 70% of those are hip hop, R&B, or crossover into pop. And you have to compete with all of that. So in 2015, not every artist had the business knowledge to be able to distribute their songs on every one of these platforms. But again, there's a lot of information that was left out of that video. So it does irk me what United Artists sometimes puts out with these, a minute video, but they just put like, oh, is Gucci Mane is he saying facts? Question mark. And they just have a bunch of people comment on it because that's how their page grows, you know what I'm saying? And you guys look at that as a blueprint to success, and I want to let you know that please don't do that. Study the business, understand the business, and put your content out there first, market it to see if it actually is good. So I'm gonna leave you with that because I don't wanna make this video too long. I'm gonna see you guys at the next video. Peace.